Hey guys, how are you all? Today we are back with another blazing Naruto story. What if Naruto entered a forbidden jutsu that made every girl see him as their ideal lover? If you enjoy this video, then please like, share and do comment. And also check the description to original creator of this beautiful creation. So let us start the story.
Sakura continued to heal Naruto as best as she could, but she knew that there was no way that Naruto would have enough energy to block the next attack. She watched in sickening fascination as the 10-tail made an even larger-tailed beast ball, the ball covering the sky above them as the ninjas of the allied shinobi forces were scrambling around to carry out Shikamaru's final plan. Sakura had to admit that the plan was quite ingenious, fighting the quality of the tailed beast ball with quantity by creating thousands of Doten wall barriers in order to slow down the blast. However, she doubted that the plan would do any good against the destructive ball of power. Beneath her hand, Naruto turned towards the medic Nin and smiled. "Hey Sakura?" "Yes, Naruto?" The blonde idiot gave her his signature idiotic grin. "Thanks for being my friend and teammate through everything. You're the best, Sakura." She held back the tears in her eyes as she smacked the back of Naruto's head and smiled. "Baka, we're gonna get through this. Don't make it sound like we're about to die." Even as she said those words, Sakura knew that they were doomed. However, outer Sakura's expression didn't change and she refused to give up the last bit of hope she had. She firmly believed that someone or something would save them or help them escape. There was something mysterious in Naruto's sapphire eyes as he looked straight at Sakura. "I know. I just want to tell you how much I appreciate you." Despite the situation, Sakura had to let out a small laugh. "This is very sudden, Naruto. What is it? I can definitely tell that you're hiding something. Trust me, Sakura, it's nothing." "Nothing. You forgot to tell her that you're about to do a powerful, forbidden jutsu that can potentially be fatal when used." The nine-tailed fox scoffed at his partner. "Kit, are you sure you want to use this jutsu? If we pushed ourselves enough, we could probably help Gyuki deflect the next shot. You and I both know that the 10 tails can just create another tailed beast bomb to destroy us all. And if it unleashes its Tenpenchi technique again, we won't be able to stop it. We've used up too much chakra and you know that too, Kurama." Naruto simply replied. He was sitting and studying the scroll that the 9 tails had given him that contained the forbidden technique. "If we manage to pull of this jutsu, we'll be able to save thousands of lives and we can stop this from ever happening." "I can't say that you're lying, Kit. But are you ready to take the risks and go back into the past? Are you prepared to be isolated and hated once again by your entire village?" Kurama asked the boy. Naruto let out a snort. "If I can save the hidden leaf from destruction and prevent this entire war from even happening, I'll gladly go through a decade of suffering by myself. Maybe this time around, we can have peace across the world without death and destruction. As for the risks, we're about to die anyways. An idealist like always, Kit. But your selfless ways is what convinced me to work with you anyways." Naruto folded the scroll and tossed it back to the fox, the scroll disappearing as it flew through the air. "I think I got the gist of it. Forbidden jutsu. Time manipulation." The fox nodded. "After this, you will not be able to use that jutsu again. You have only one shot to change the past. I'll also remind you again that though your memories and spiritual energy will be transported back, your physical body and chakra system will still be out of shape and young. You won't be able to use the Rasengan or any of your very powerful jutsu right away, but it will be easier for you to relearn them." After hearing this, Naruto groaned. "Great, so I'll have to basically train harder than ever. At least now I know how to use the shadow clones to boost my training." The Jinchuriki stood up and stuck out his fist to the fox. "With you and I as a team, we'll definitely be able to take on the ninja world. Believe it." A small chuckle came out of the fox's mouth as he gave a smirk to his comrade and prison guard. "Of course, Kid. I'll help you every step of the way. But before we actually carry out the jutsu, I'd like to tell you something about the jutsu." Naruto titled his head. "Like what?" "You can bring back one person with you on this journey. The person that comes back with you will also return to their younger bodies at exactly the same time you do. Do you want to bring someone with you back to the past? I'm sure that your pink-haired friend would be." "No, Kurama," Naruto abruptly said. "I don't want anyone else to be burdened by this. But Kit, if she came with you, she could help you on your journey. Besides, you're the one that said that your comrades have made you stronger. I'll just help her and Sasuke grow faster." I don't want her or anyone else going back into the past knowing that if they failed, the world would end. That is a burden for me and me alone. Selfless. Maybe a little too selfless. The fox grimaced. Alright kid, let's do this. Sakura was surprised when she saw Naruto weaving his hand to make hand seals. Naruto, your chakra is exhausted and your body is physically weak. You're in no shape to use another jutsu. Don't worry Sakura. Naruto gave her a small, weak smile. A smile of regret. This jutsu will be the final jutsu I use. What the hell are you saying Baka? Sakura said. Already, she was preparing to hold him down so he wouldn't do anything stupid. He stared at her before he looked down to focus on his work. It's a secret jutsu that'll set everything right. She was tempted to stop him as he continued, but couldn't find herself the will to stop him. Something in his voice told her that he wasn't going to do anything stupid, which was a surprise since he always did something stupid. There was a moment of silence between them as Naruto continued to make the hand seals and Sakura continued to heal him with the remainder of her chakra. However, that moment was shattered as Sakura looked up and saw that the tailed beast ball was released towards them. Sakura prayed in the back of her mind that the kami would spare her and her friends, but her prayers went unanswered as the ball came closer and closer to them. Thousands of walls were erected to slow down the ball, but Sakura could see that the walls were being shattered faster than they were being made. She reached out to her teammate and friend and placed her hand on his shoulder. Sakura-chan, I need you to back up for a moment. I need to do something. Naruto muttered. Nodding, Sakura stepped back away from her teammate. It was at this moment that Naruto completed his hand seals and slammed his fist into the ground. Forbidden Jutsu. Time manipulation. The spot where Naruto had smashed his fist into began to crack and lines began to shoot out from the crack. The lines surrounded Naruto and Sakura, forming a star shape around the two ninjas. The wind began to whirl and make shrieking noises as the lines began to glow. Time manipulation? Is this some sort of time travel jutsu? Sakura shouted over the powerful winds. The other ninjas were too distracted on building Doton wall barriers to notice that Naruto was doing something strange. Naruto gave his trademark thumbs up to his teammate. Yep, don't worry about me Sakura. I'll change the future for the better. I'll make sure that everyone is safe and that this never happens. If she could have punched the blonde, she would have. But the winds were slowly pushing her away from him. Baka, idiot, if you're going to go to the past, at least take me with you. I can't let you Sakura. I can't let you carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. This is something I need to carry by myself. And if I go into the past, you won't even remember this anyways. Sakura couldn't believe what she had just heard and hoped that she heard him wrong due to the winds. Looking at his facial expression told the entire story, but even then she couldn't allow this to happen. We're a team. Even if Naruto doesn't want me to go, I'm going with him. Besides, who else would look after that idiot? Using the last of her strength, she pushed against the wind and walked towards her teammate. In front of her, she could see the tailed beast ball coming closer and closer as the bee was unable to deflect the ball away from the allied forces. Gritting her teeth, she hurled herself towards Naruto and grabbed him by the shoulder at the last second. The entire world was suddenly lit up by the tailed beast ball and the two teammates closed their eyes from the flash. When they opened their eyes, they weren't dead, but in a different place. Naruto Uzumaki woke up to the sun glaring down onto his face. Immediately, he sat straight up and looked out his window. Instead of a Konoha being reconstructed, the Konoha in front of him was completely intact. At the sight of this, Naruto opened his window and let out a loud yell of joy, prompting some neighbors and civilians on the streets to glare at him. To double-check, Naruto ran to his closet and checked his physical appearance on the mirror. He was at least half a foot shorter and looked physically weaker than before. Looks like we've succeeded Kurama. Naruto said to the fox. We're back in the past. You'll need to figure out just what time period you're in currently. For all you know, Sasuke could have already left and you're about to leave on your training trip with that old pervert. A small smile crept onto Naruto's face. Ero Sanin, he's still alive. And this time, he'll stay alive. I don't know for sure, but I guess I'll head down to the academy first and go on from there. He opened his refrigerator in order to eat some breakfast and was met with the rotten smell. Pinching his nose, he pulled out the only thing in the refrigerator other than some bread. Sour milk. Why does this seem so familiar? Naruto slammed his fist into his palm in realization. Right, the day that I became part of Team 7. I had that stupid expired milk and bread for breakfast since that was all that was left in the refrigerator. Funny how you managed to figure out what day is today just by that. You could have just looked at the calendar and checked the date. Kurama mused. Thanks for telling me now, Kurama. Naruto grumbled. Shaking his head, Naruto threw out the milk and chewed on some of the bread. I really need to shop for better food to fill up my refrigerator. Last thing I want is diarrhea again. Sakura, wake up and eat your breakfast. You're gonna be late on your first day. Sakura Haruno rubbed her eyes and yawned. She looked around and froze once realized that she was in her room, in her own bed. Which should have been impossible because her house and her room were blown up when pain attacked the Hidden Leaf Village. Unless, I'm back in the past. Sakura said to herself. So the idiot did send us back into the past. Or at least, tried to send himself into the past. I grabbed him hoping that I would be sent back also. She recalled the last few moments before the blinding light and clenched her fist. That idiot, trying to come back into the past by himself and doing everything himself. I'm going to punch that baka the next time I see him. After throwing off her covers and jumping off the bed, she walked into the bathroom to wash up. In doing so, she came face to face with a much younger version of herself in the mirror. Yep, definitely in the past. Sakura washed up quickly and made her way downstairs, nearly running into her mother in the kitchen. Sakura, I know you're excited for your first day as a ninja, but you should be careful a bit. Mebuki Haruno scolded her daughter. You almost made me drop the miso soup. Sorry mom, the young Sakura sheepishly replied. But first day as a ninja? Mebuki rolled her eyes at her daughter. Your first day as a genin. You were all excited about it yesterday, telling me how you passed that entrance exam. You were also gushing on and on about that Uchiha boy and how you're confident you'll be teamed with him and win him over. Hearing those words made Sakura turn tomato red. God, my younger self was such a fangirl. Do you know when I have to get to the academy by? Her mother glanced at the clock. Around 15 minutes? Sakura rushed to the dining table and shoveled food into her mouth with only one thought running through her head. That idiot is going to have a hole in his head after I'm done with him. Not knowing that Sakura was also in the past with him, Naruto walked into the classroom carefree and lighthearted. After finding out that he woke up a little early, Naruto decided to change up his uniform a bit to look less colorful. His new outfit consisted of a black jacket with some orange on the sleeves with black shorts, similar to what Sasuke had worn during the Chunin exams. He also had the Uzumaki symbol on the back of his jacket. He earned a few odd stares due to his new clothes, but Naruto didn't mind as he strolled down the aisle to take a seat. He took a seat right next to Sasuke, grinning at the raven-haired boy. The last Uchiha only stared at him strangely and turned away to look outside the window as usual. Naruto silently thought into his mind. Look, he's a kid now. You're also 12, so you're also a kid. Kurama snorted in Naruto's mind. Right, but I have the memories and experience of a 17-year-old. Naruto shot back. Now I need to think of a way to prevent him from leaving the village and getting the Avenger mode out of his head. Naruto. The blonde ninja turned towards the voice to see his favorite and only pink-haired ninja. Though he was full aware that she didn't think too highly of him until after the Land of Waves mission. Oh hey Sakura-chan, I'll move aside since you probably want to sit next to Sasu. His words were cut short as the pink-haired girl punched him squarely in the face. Shanuru. All the other genins watched in awe as a yellow and black blur shot out of the classroom, broke through the window, and landed at the front of the academy's entrance. Sakura still had steam rising from her hands as she stared at her handiwork. Okay, maybe I went a little too overboard. She looked around and when she realized that everyone was staring at her, she took a seat next to Sasuke and kept her head down. Though, she managed to make eye contact with the young Uchiha. Sasuke stared at Sakura as he picked the pieces of glass out of his hair and clothes. However, his usual gaze of annoyance to the fangirl was replaced with a slight hint of approval. Sakura thought that she would feel glad and relieved at seeing him again. However, that was all she felt. She didn't feel any love or affection towards her future-to-be teammate. Only a tinge of regret and sadness. I'll make sure to work with Naruto to prevent him from leaving, but it makes me wonder why I fangirled over this silent and rude idiot for so long. Her train of thought was interrupted as Naruto limped back into class, several bruises and scratches on his legs and face. He sighed as he shifted his feet towards the back table and sat down. Wait, I'm pretty sure she didn't punch me that hard on the day we got assigned to our genin squads. Maybe you did something differently that caused this. Maybe you were sitting a little too close for Sakura's comfort and she decided to use brute force to make you go away. Kurama suggested. Naruto nodded in agreement, but he still felt as if something was off. And he realized something was definitely off when Sakura stood up from her seat and slid into the seat next to his. This definitely didn't happen before. Sakura-chan, are you okay? Are you feeling sick or something? It was then that Naruto realized that his future teammate had cut her hair to shoulder length and wore pants instead of her usual genin dress. What is happening, Kurama? Did coming back in time cause this much change already? Possibly, Kit. Though, I think the reason that your pink-haired friend is acting like this is because… You can drop the act now, Naruto. I remember the forbidden jutsu and I can't believe that you almost ditched me. Sakura whispered under her breath. Thank Kami that I grabbed your shoulder in time. Otherwise, I might have been left behind in the future with you coming back to the past by yourself. Naruto gulped. That explained the sudden punch out of nowhere. Why did you come back with me, Sakura? To help you, Baka. We're teammates, remember? Team 7 till the end? Sakura rolled her eyes. Did you really expect me to stay put while you went back into the past by yourself? Someone needs to look after you and clean up your mess. Sorry, Sakura. Naruto mumbled. I just thought that it would have been better if I dealt this by myself. Just forget about it. Let's just focus on the present. Or past. Sakura replied. This time travel thing is really confusing. If Naruto and Sakura can stay silent, I will assign all of you to your Junin instructors. Aruki-sensei shouted in front of the class. This caused a lot of snickering and curious looks toward the two clearly embarrassed students. Good, now I will read out the team numbers, the 3 genin in the team, and the team's Junin. The sensei began to read the list, announcing all the new teams. Naruto and Sakura already knew the team they would be in, but sat silently and calmly in the back as their names were called. Okay, our next team is Team 7. Haruno Sakura, Uzumaki Naruto, and Uchiha Sasuke. This time around, both Naruto and Sakura didn't cheer as the names were called. Instead, the duo stayed silent as the rest of the names were called. They were already silently scheming in their heads and barely realized that class had been dismissed for the day. Before the two left, Naruto turned to his new teammate. Hey Sakura, I also realized something. Now that we're back in the past, your chest is even smaller than before. In Naruto's head, Kurama face-palmed and knew what to expect. A visible tick mark appeared on Sakura's forehead. Shanaru. Okay, this is getting really old now. I'm used to him being late, but I forgot that he was extra late on the day that we met. Naruto mumbled silently to Sakura so that Sasuke couldn't hear. His friend nodded in agreement. Kakashi had slightly fixed his habit and was only an hour or two late to everything in the future. But now the white-haired Junin was running a solid 3 hours late to the first team meeting. Everything was a lot more different than before, mainly because Sakura from the future was also by his side. The last day passed by uneventfully, with Naruto and Sakura grabbing ramen together and thinking of ways to prevent the calamities of the future while not changing everything too much so their knowledge of the future wouldn't be useless. Naruto wanted to head out immediately and battle future Akatsuki members, only to be immediately smacked by Sakura for his brashness. Sakura also wanted to change things, but knew that any rash attempts to change history could have large consequences, such as killing Gato or assassinating Kisame. Besides, she reasoned with the blonde, their powers were nowhere near their peak levels. For now, all they could do was to train and make small, positive changes. Naruto looked at the clock on the wall and sighed. Well, since our sensei is late, I'll just go set up a prank for him. The third member of Team 7, Sasuke Uchiha, only gave out a small HN as the blonde ninja stood up and gathered up some supplies within the classroom. Sakura eagerly joined him, as she didn't join Naruto the last time he did this prank due to Sasuke's disapproving glare. She only gave a small glance at the Uchiha and snorted. Who cares what he thinks? I'm not an obsessed fangirl anymore. Instead of a simple blackboard eraser dropping from the sliding door, Naruto and Sakura constructed a very complicated prank that consisted of several different stages. Once the two agreed on the plan, they set out to work, with Naruto sending several clones to collect some supplies needed for the operation. Unknowingly to the duo, Sasuke watched the two work with great interest, as he found the two working together so casually to be quite odd. Just up until yesterday, Sakura was fawning over me and stalking me while she pounded Naruto and called him useless. Now, it seems like they're suddenly best friends. Sasuke thought as he saw Naruto grab a wooden mallet from his clone. The Uchiha let out a HN as he continued to watch his teammates. Maybe if this continues, Sakura won't bother me anymore and Dobi will stay out of my way. After all, they're just people standing in the way of my final goal. Finished. Naruto let out a whoop. Now that dumb Junin sensei will be punished for being late. Sakura let out a small laugh and gave Naruto a high five. Sasuke merely sat still with his hands still crossed in front of him. Even with the new additions to the prank, there's no way a Junin would fall for a stupid booby trap like that. Naruto gave the raven-haired boy a grin. Wanna make a bet, Sasuke Teme? I bet you a bowl of ramen that our sensei will walk right into our booby trap. The Uchiha prodigy only glared at him, his body posture remaining completely the same. Within minutes, the doors of the classroom slid open to reveal the silver-haired Junin of Team 7. Kakashi had already seen the blackboard eraser, but decided to walk into it to give his little pupils a little satisfaction before he worked them to the bone. He opened the door and was immediately hit by the blackboard eraser, which was filled with ink instead of chalk powder. Blinded by the ink dripping into his right eye, he stepped backwards, only to be struck by a large wooden mallet to the back of his head. As he stumbled forward, he tripped on a tripe wire set up right in front of the door and fell right into a small pit of flour while a bucket of water slammed into his head at the same time. Realizing that this was not a simple blackboard eraser prank, Kakashi slowly rose up with the bucket still on his head, only to have someone slam two cymbals that vibrated the bucket and caused a ringing sensation to echo throughout his head. After several minutes of a violent headache, Kakashi calmly took off the bucket on his head and looked at his uniform. His usually clean uniform was now stained with ink and covered in wet flour. His hair was a mess and his mask felt very uncomfortable with all the flour and ink inside. The leader of Team 7 coughed and looked at the three genin assigned to his team. He knew that Naruto would possibly pull a prank, but a prank on this scale was something he didn't anticipate. And looking closely at the pink-haired girl, he could also see that she helped him with the prank due to some flour marks on her hand. Only the Uchiha looked and seemed innocent, and even he was staring at his instructor with a look of amusement. "How can I say this?" Kakashi said as he dusted himself off and rubbed his chin. "My first impression is, I don't like you guys. You guys are bullies." Only Sasuke looked slightly troubled and annoyed. Naruto and Sakura were both grinning. Yep, the two idiots that set this prank. Kakashi thought. Now meet up on the roof. We're gonna do introductions. Kakashi disappeared in a cloud of smoke. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. If I'm right, then Kakashi should be feeling the burn about now. Naruto said with a smile still on his face. Right on time, there was a small yelp above them. Come on, I don't think the sensei will be in a good mood, so we should hurry. Up on the roof, Kakashi was already rubbing his head, thankful that he had sent a clone down instead of meeting the genin himself. I'm in for a rough time ahead. Well then, Kakashi said cheerfully, though there was a hint of danger in his voice. Let's begin with introducing ourselves to each other. Naruto raised his hand. What do you want us to say? Excellent question. I just want to know some of the basics. Your likes, your dislikes, your dreams for the future and stuff like that. Kakashi answered. The blonde-haired teen nodded. Then you go ahead first, sensei. You're the leader. Kakashi tilted his head for a moment. Oh, me? I'm Hitaki Kakashi. I have no desire to tell you my likes and dislikes, though I do dislike brats that bully their sensei on the first day. His words were pointed directly at Sakura and Naruto. Dreams for the future? As for hobbies, I have lots of hobbies. Even though Naruto and Sakura knew exactly what Kakashi would say, they still shook their head as Sasuke joined in on the display of disappointment with a scowl. So basically, all we know about him is his name. Now it's your turn, let's start from the right. Blonde, go first. Kakashi waved his hand for them to start. Naruto adjusted his Hite 8 and spoke. My name is Uzumaki Naruto. What I like is eating ramen, training, and eating ramen. What I dislike is, someone who turns their back on their friends and betrays their comrades. My hobbies are training, eating ramen, and learning new jutsu. My dream is to become the greatest Hokage and bring peace to the entire world. That sounds fairly normal, except his dislikes sound odd. Bringing peace to the world, he's already dreaming big. Alright, next. My name is Uchiha Sasuke. There are lots of things I dislike and I really don't like anything. And I can't really call it a dream. But I have an ambition. The resurrection of my clan and to kill a certain man. The raven-haired boy answered solemnly. Itachi, maybe this time around we can save him. That's it? Naruto asked his rival. For the first time in a long time, Sasuke blinked in surprise. What do you mean, Dobi? Your entire life is just going after one guy and killing him? That, resurrecting my clan, thing sounded pretty cool, but your only other goal is to kill someone? Geez, and what's gonna happen after you kill him? Sasuke actually looked like he was considering what Naruto said as Kakashi raised his hand and silenced them. Naruto, your introduction was only slightly better, but stay silent and wait for everyone to finish. Now, let's wrap this up with the girl. My name is Hinuro Sakura. I like a lot of things, but I mainly like to study medical ninjutsu, hang out with friends, and read. I dislike double-crossing traitors that turn their backs on their friends and close ones. I also dislike rude people who disregard others as inferior. My hobbies are studying and training to constantly improve myself. My dream is to one day surpass Tsunade the Sannin as a medic and help build an alliance in which ninjas of all villages can live in peace together. She doesn't sound like the fangirl that people make her out to be. In fact, if anything, she sounds almost like Naruto in a lot of aspects. Kakashi thought in his head. Though, I'm not sure if that's a bad thing. If she actually has goals and dreams instead of being motivated solely by the Uchiha boy, it'll help her improve early on. Alright, that's it for the introductions. Tomorrow, we'll officially start our duties as shinobi of the Hidden Leaf. Kakashi announced to his genin squad. But before we do anything, we'll be doing something with just the 4 of us. You can call it a survival training. This won't be a normal training. During this training, I will be your opponent. Seeing that the 3 genin were impassive, Kakashi chuckled a bit to himself. You 3 look awfully calm even after I told you that you will be facing me during this training. I hope you guys don't freak out when I tell you this, but of the 27 graduates, only 9 will be chosen to become genin. Everyone else will be sent back to the academy. So basically, your chance of failure stands at a solid 66% as of now. Even after he said this, he received no response from his students. His eyes wandered to Naruto, who looked very relaxed and gave only a slight glance towards Sasuke, then towards Sakura, who was punching the ground softly, causing small fissures to appear, and lastly towards Sasuke, who was still in his own world of thinking and was sitting with his hands crossed with indifference all over his face. So I guess you guys aren't freaking out. I'll have to admit that you're the first team to not freak out after hearing that. Anyways, tomorrow you have to show your real skills on the training ground. Bring all the shinobi tools you have. Make sure to skip breakfast too, you might throw up from the training you'll get tomorrow. Kakashi told the group. I was gonna give you a small brochure to give you a small hint of what's to come tomorrow, but since you set that really mean prank on me, I'll just let you 3 freak out till tomorrow. Till then. And with a small wave of a hand, he disappeared into a cloud of smoke. Yo Sasuke, wanna grab lunch together and train for tomorrow's survival training? Sakura is coming along too. Naruto asked the Uchiha with his trademark stupid grin. A simple frown and a HN answered the question as Sasuke walked away from the 2 without even waving goodbye. Naruto scrunched up his face and shook his head. He still has a stick up his ass, the bastard. Sakura gave her teammate a reassuring pat on the shoulder. He'll come around in the future. After all, he hasn't been corrupted by Orochimaru and he's still redeemable. We just need to figure out a way to break his Avenger mode and convince him that it'll be worthwhile to stay in Konoha with us. You're just being soft on him because you love him. Naruto grumbled. At least our goal of keeping Sasuke in Konoha is easier because he's still here in the village as a shinobi instead of being a missing nin. Do I really still love him? Sakura wondered to herself. It's good seeing him again, but the last few encounters with him weren't exactly pleasant. Besides, even after all those years of chasing him, he showed no signs of returning my feelings or even a hint of returning to Konoha again. I think the best way to keep Sasuke in the village is to become powerful ourselves. If we stay constantly ahead of him and show that we have something to offer and teach him, he won't see as obstacles to his goal and maybe see us as partners. Maybe if we told him the truth about the Uchiha massacre, it'll turn off his Avenger mode and allow him to develop a better goal for himself. Obsession over revenge isn't really healthy for anyone. Naruto hesitantly nodded. I think we should tell Gigi about everything soon. Maybe after we relearn some of our stronger jutsu and after we do the wave mission. It's only after the wave mission that we earn Sasuke's respect and friendship, and he'll be more willing to hear us out after that. Not a bad idea for the dead last. Sakura answered with a grin. Let's grab lunch somewhere other than Ichiraku's ramen and test out our current strengths. We need to prepare ourselves for tomorrow's test. I really want to flatten Kakashi-sensei's face and be part of the first Genin team to take a bell from him. The duo laughed as they walked away, not noticing a familiar figure reading an orange book on the side of the academy building. After eating at a small sandwich shop near the outskirts of town, partially due to Naruto's request on avoiding the more populated areas, Sakura and Naruto made their way to the third training ground, where the survival training would be carried out the next day. While Naruto was focusing on remastering the Rasengan, Sakura was doing physical and chakra control exercises. Ah, this is so frustrating. Naruto shrieked as the 29th attempt of a Rasengan dissipated in his hand. I definitely remember how to do it and can almost feel the jutsu on the tip of my fingers, but I just can't do it. It took you a week to complete the Rasengan last time, didn't it? You should be able to finish it faster this time around since you already know the stuff you need to do to make the Rasengan. Sakura was standing upside down from a tree branch while she practiced her chakra control. Naruto punched a tree, only to find that he wasn't as strong as he was before. He let out a small yelp as his fist began to turn red while the tree trunk was completely intact. I hate this stupid, weak body. I really need to train extra hard, but the bell test is tomorrow. Sakura pouted. You do know that there are other ways of fighting Kakashi, right? Do you remember how we beat him last time? Naruto thought for a second and smiled. Right. I pretended to know the ending of the Icha-Icha tactics and forced him to cover his eyes and ears. Do you think it'll actually work this time around? I mean, why not? He won't expect it this time around because we haven't actually done it yet. Besides, we need every edge we get since we don't have our full strengths. I think I should be able to enhance my strength using chakra control, but that's about it. Maybe if we had more time. Sakura told the blonde. The son of the fourth Hokage only grinned. It's fine. It's not like we need to beat Kakashi or get the bells. We just need to have a plan and show teamwork in order to pass. And I think I have a plan that should have Kakashi running for his money. You? With a plan? The world must be ending or this must be a genjutsu. Sakura looked at Naruto incredulously. Ha ha. Hilarious. Naruto replied dryly. The plan should work if I manage to master some lower ranked jutsu and have Sasuke follow along with the plan. Pulling her close, Naruto began to whisper the plan into her ear, with the pink-haired girl nodding with an approving look. Not bad, Naruto. I think that plan could actually work if everything went well. Well, that's why we're training Sakura-chan. Naruto replied with a smile. We need to be prepared for tomorrow. The two continued to train, with the rest of the training being uneventful. Though, towards the end of the practice, a boy with jet black hair watched carefully as the duo trained intensely. I feel so drained, Naruto complained as he walked down the marketplace with Sakura by his side. I haven't used up this much chakra since, well, the fight against 10 Tails. After training, Naruto mentioned that he needed to go to the marketplace to stock up on some food after encountering an empty refrigerator the day before. Not wanting the blonde to only stock up on ramen, Sakura insisted on going to the marketplace with him so he could buy some healthy and nutritious food. Ramen is nutritious. I mean, I was like pretty much everyone else's height even after eating ramen daily. Naruto whined, only to be punched by Sakura. In order to not draw attention himself or Sakura, Naruto used the Henge no Jutsu to disguise himself as a brown-haired, brown-eyed ninja. He blended in perfectly with the crowd of civilians on a busy weekday night, unlike his normal appearance that distinctively stood out due to his blonde hair. So, what are we even gonna buy Sakura? I don't have much money since we haven't started missions and ramen is cheap too. That's why I always buy it in bulk, Naruto said. Sakura threw him the look, but it was much softer than usual. So that's why he ate so much ramen when he was younger. He didn't have any money to buy actual food and the habit of eating cheap instant ramen stuck on forever. It's fine, Naruto. I have some allowance money that I can use to help you buy food. It's not like I pay for my own food back at home. You can pay me back after we start doing missions. The disguised brown-haired ninja smiled. Thanks, Sakura. Though, I still would prefer ramen. A tick mark appeared on Sakura's forehead and it stopped Naruto from making any further comments. They walked into a small grocery store where Sakura usually went to buy fresh fruits and vegetables for the Hinuro household. Ishikura-san, are you here? Sakura shouted into the shop as the two entered. Although the shop was quite small, the shelves were crammed with everything from fruits to chips. Ishikura, the owner of the shop, stepped out from the back. The shopkeeper, a woman in her early 60s, welcomed Sakura warmly. Good evening, Sakura. Buying groceries for your parents again? You're such a kind soul. How can I help you? Actually, I came here to help my friend buy his groceries. He's been living off of cup ramen and I want to buy some healthy food for once. Sakura answered with a bow. The woman turned to Naruto and smiled. Naruto smiled back, feeling relieved that he wasn't being chased out or yelled at due to his henge that covered his real face. Well, hello, Sakura's friend. What's your name? Naruto hesitated before answering. My name is Nagato. Pleased to meet you. Well, Nagato, I know that Sakura will be able to help you easily. She's been coming to my shop for years, ever since she was a little girl, to buy her parents' groceries. Ishikura said as he shook the boy's hand. Since it's your first time here and you're a friend of Sakura, I'll give you a small discount. After all, young boys like you need to eat and grow. The blonde-haired boy thanked the woman and went back to Sakura, who already had a basket full of assorted vegetables, fruits, meats, and dairy products. She knew the bottomless pit that Naruto called his stomach and had to buy at least double the amount of what her entire family would eat for him to survive the next week or two. Here, Naruto. There's a mix of every food class in the basket. Enough food to last you a week or two, I think. She handed him a small piece of folded paper. Just make sure to eat the appropriate amount of servings written on the paper each day and it'll keep you healthy. Naruto nodded, but his eyes still wandered hungrily to the pack of instant ramen on one of the shelves. Sakura-chan, can I just get one pack of instant ramen? Maybe if you do well for a week, Naruto. You can still go to Ichiraku's ramen once a day since they actually make their noodles and use fresh ingredients, but you have to avoid the instant and cup ramen. They have a lot of artificial ingredients. Yeah, I got you, Sakura. I'll eat the food. Naruto took the basket from her and pulled out his wallet. Because I know you're looking out for me. She gave her teammate a small tap on the back of his head and smiled. And maybe after eating healthy for a few months, you'll be finally taller than me and the others. Oi, I'm not that small. Naruto went up to the shopkeeper with the basket and wallet in hand. How much for all of this? Ishikura looked over the contents of the basket for a few minutes and calculated the number on a piece of paper. That will be 20,000 ryo with the discount. With a small gulp, Naruto turned towards Sakura. You said I can borrow some money from you, right? I only have 5,000 ryo. I promise I'll pay you back after the first few missions. Thought. The old woman looked at the young ninja. Nagato, do you not have enough money? I apologize, Ishikura-san. Nagato is my teammate and he's an orphan that lives by himself, so I told him that I'll let him borrow some of my money. Here, I'll pay for him instead. Sakura interjected, already pulling out her wallet. Instead of accepting the money, Ishikura shook her head. No, it's fine, Sakura. Nagato, since you're an orphan and you're living alone, I'll let you have the groceries today for free. But do come back and buy more in the future when you have money. Just keep this a secret. I don't want the villagers to come to my store and ask for free food. That would be terrible for my business. Nagato didn't know what to say. He had never really been treated so nicely before he defeated Pain, in which he earned the respect and trust of the villagers. Thank you, Ishikura-san. I'll definitely pay you back in the future. The old lady laughed as she placed all the items in a bag. That's the spirit. Now run along, you two, and have fun on your date. We're not on a date. Both Naruto and Sakura answered in unison, with their cheeks tinged pink. After leaving the shop, Naruto grabbed the bag and ran off. He still had a slight tinge of pink on his cheek. Bye Sakura. Thanks for everything today. I'll see you tomorrow. Sakura watched as her teammate ran away. When she was about to walk away herself, she realized that he had dropped his wallet in his haste. Baka always making me look out for him. Naruto arrived back at his apartment and hurried inside. He shoved the food that he had bought, or received, into the refrigerator and immediately went to take a quick shower before continuing with anything else. Within a flash, Naruto washed himself and dried himself with a towel. He slapped on some shorts and undershirt for comfort and walked back into the kitchen. He looked at the small piece of paper that Sakura had given him and scratched his head. Around 3 servings of grain every meal, which is around 3 slices of bread or a cup of rice. 2 servings of vegetables per meal, which is about 2 cups of vegetables or a full cup of vegetable juice. Naruto rambled on. Damn, this list is long. I didn't know I had to eat so specifically when I agreed to do this. He pulled out some of the food that he bought from the refrigerator and placed it on the counter, only to stare at the food for a solid 5 minutes. Now what, do I eat these raw or? A knock on the door didn't answer his question, but formed another question in his head. Who would visit me right now? And how do they even know I live here? Naruto peeped out the small fisheye that allowed him to see the person visiting him outside. The person was a pink-haired girl with a red shirt and black shorts. Sakura, what are you doing here? Naruto asked the pink-haired ninja. She rolled her eyes and shoved the wallet into his face. You dropped your wallet, Baka. Do you have to be irresponsible even when you're 17? The undisguised blonde scratched the back of his head. Well, no, I was just in sort of a haste after that Oba-chan said that we were on a date. I didn't want anyone else getting the wrong idea. Sakura sighed at his response. It's fine. It's not even that big of a deal. You didn't need to run away so fast. Besides, it's not like Sasuke is my boyfriend or anything. But you love Sasuke, Sakura. Naruto exclaimed. So it's not a good idea if the villagers started spreading some rumor that you're dating some brown-haired ninja dude. Honestly, Naruto, it doesn't matter. I don't care about that at all. I'll figure out what to do with Sasuke later on. For now, we're all teammates looking out for each other. Sakura replied with a shrug. I probably shouldn't tell him that I'm not really seeing Sasuke the way I used to see him. Naruto nodded, understanding what she said. Before you go, Sakura, can you show me how to make a proper meal? This is kinda new to me. I never really tried it. Sakura stared at the Uzumaki as if he was lying. You can't cook. Like anything? I can cook rice. Naruto defended himself. He often put rice in his ramen to enjoy the soup. And ramen, that's it? You, a possibly S-ranked ninja, can't even cook something as simple as eggs or meat? Seeing her teammate from the future shake his head made her facepalm. Guess you can't be good at everything. Fine, I'm sure my mom won't mind. You can come over to my house for dinner and learn how to cook some basics by helping her cook. Sakura announced to her teammate. I'm a decent cook, but my mom would probably teach him better. Besides, if he comes, I won't need to help mom cook for today. Really? Then let's leave now. Naruto yelled excitedly, literally dragging Sakura out into the hallways. Shanuru. Sakura punched the blonde as he was hit with a familiar sensation. At least put on some decent clothes. You're literally in your pajamas right now. Wow, so this is your house? It's pretty nice actually. Naruto stared at the comfortable-sized house in front of him. He had his black jacket and black shorts on, and also carried a small notebook and a pencil. I never visited your house before, even before Pain blew up the village. Inviting you for dinner was the last thing that crossed my mind with all the things that were going down at the time. Sakura shrugged. My dad is a pretty rich merchant, so we have some money. He's off in the land of the wind for some business, so it's only me and my mom in the house right now. He nodded as the duo stepped inside. Mom, I'm home. I brought a friend with me too. Mebuki Hinuro peeked out the opening into the kitchen. Oh, it's a boy. She scurried over to Naruto to shake his hand. You must be Sasuke Uchiha that Sakura always talk about. I'm Mebuki, pleased to meet you. Before Naruto could say anything, Sakura stepped in. Mom, this guy isn't Sasuke. He's one of my teammates, his name is Naruto. Naruto Uzumaki. The friendliness in Mebuki's eyes didn't die as she patted the boy's head. Even so, he's pretty cute. Are you going after multiple guys at once now, Sakura? Sakura looked flustered. Mom, I brought Naruto over so he can learn to cook and eat dinner with us. He's not my boyfriend or anything. Ah, I see. A hint of disappointment flashed in Mabuki's eyes. Well then, Naruto, what would you like to learn? She guided Naruto to the kitchen while Sakura went upstairs to her room. Why has everyone assumed that I'm dating Naruto for the past 2 days? Dunno, because you two suddenly became super friendly with each other out of nowhere? Someone in her head answered. I mean, it's not unreasonable. You've been acting close with him all the time. Sakura froze for a moment. Inner Sakura? Why are you back? That's my question to you. I don't exist unless you will me too. I haven't heard your voice in forever. And I didn't hear your voice when I came back. Why are you appearing back in my life right now? Like I said, I don't know. Maybe it's because of the time travel. Maybe it's because you have issues to settle. The only daughter of the Hinuro family groaned. Great, I already have a lot of things running through my head. You don't need to in my head also. I'm your inner self that you refuse to reveal. Maybe in the future, I'll disappear like last time. Maybe. She read a book on medical ninjutsu, testing out some of the exercises described in the book and pushing her abilities further. Her studying session came to an end in 10 minutes when her mother shouted at her. Sakura, come down, we're having dinner. As she made her way downstairs, Sakura noticed that the smell coming from the kitchen actually smelled good. She expected that with Naruto helping her mother make the food, dinner would be mediocre at best. Yet the dinner, consisting some salad, fried rice, and some sliced chicken teriyaki, actually seemed pretty good. She sat down next to Naruto and began eating, impressed with the fact that the cooking tasted better than usual. Your friend Naruto is a natural cook, her mother said with a smile. He's very good with the knife and he's very good at memorizing ingredients. His shadow clones were very helpful and managed to help me finish dinner within minutes. So is that why dinner was finished in 10 minutes? Sakura asked. That's not fair. That's basically cheating. Naruto shrugged as he shoved some chicken and salad in his mouth. Maybe you should learn to cook for me one day. That's a horrifying thought. Sakura shuddered. No thanks. Just eat your food and stop talking. Naruto, you're going to make a mess. MFPPHHH. Naruto said with his mouth full. Sakura knew that he was just doing that to irritate her, but she couldn't punch the idiot in front of her own mother. So she lifted her foot and stomped on his foot. Food nearly shot out of Naruto's mouth as he stumbled forward from pain. Mebuki seemed unaware of what her daughter had done to Naruto. Naruto, are you alright? Seeing the smirk on Sakura's face and her fist clamped shut, Naruto quickly nodded. I'm fine. I just chalked on some of the chicken. The meal was quick and short, with Naruto being bombarded by a few personal questions that Naruto answered without revealing anything of importance, a skill he learned from Kakashi. After several minutes of chit-chat, Naruto rose to leave. Thank you for the food and the hospitality, Hinuro-san. You're being too formal, Naruto-kun. Just call me Mebuki-san. Sakura's mother smiled. Do come visit often and help me cook. Maybe Sakura can actually learn a thing or two from you. Naruto grinned and waved to Sakura, who waved back with a smile on her face. When the doors closed, Naruto brought out a piece of paper with some instructions written on it and ran back to his home. He was going to wake up and test something out tomorrow. Where is Naruto? Sakura was pacing around in a circle while Sasuke was leaning against a tree. It's almost time for Kakashi to come. Sasuke's position did not change as he gazed out into the distance. Sakura sighed. He's still some wannabe emo. A lot better than that bloodthirsty blockhead in the future though. We'll make sure that he doesn't kill his brother and betray his village. There was a rustling noise from one of the trees as Naruto jumped out of a tree suddenly and landed in front of his other teammates. Yosh, sorry I'm late, but I already predicted that Kakashi-sensei would be late because of yesterday. In the meantime, I was making you guys breakfast to prepare ourselves for the training. Sakura looked puzzled. Breakfast? Yep, made some bento boxes with rice, some eggs mixed with some vegetables, and some fish cake with sauce. One for each one of us. Naruto announced. Here, try some. She took one of the bento boxes and opened it. She was surprised to find that Naruto had actually managed to cook everything right and began to munch on the food, shooting a nodding thumbs up to Naruto. These are really good, Naruto. Thanks. Only took me like 2 hours of testing and trial. Naruto replied with a laugh. He handed a box to Sasuke. Yo Teme, you should try some too. Didn't you listen to the sensei yesterday, Dobi? Sasuke answered monotony. He said not to eat breakfast. Naruto scoffed. Yeah, but he's gonna probably put us through some tough training and I would rather suffer through hell with a full belly than an empty stomach. So eat up, before the sensei comes. Sasuke looked at the box and took it out of Naruto's hands. He opened the box and dug into the food, seemingly enjoying the breakfast. After the three had finished, Naruto carefully stacked the bento boxes back into his backpack and laid back. And now, we wait. Hey guys, good morning. Kakashi waved to his pupils. All three of them glared at him. You're late by 4 hours, sensei. It's 10 a.m. right now. He merely shrugged. I got lost on the road of life, what can I say? Kakashi led them all to an open field with 4 stumps at the edges of the field. He placed an alarm clock on one of the stumps and motioned for them to place their backpacks near the other stumps. The clock is set for noon. Here are 2 bells, Kakashi said as he pulled 2 small silver bells from his pouch. Your task is to take these from me before the time's up. And the person who doesn't take a bell fails. So at least one of you here will be sent back to the academy. The silver-haired Junin continued. You most likely won't succeed in this test if you don't come at me with the intention to kill. He looked around as if he expected an outburst from one of the genin, but all 3 were silent with their kunai out in front of them. Okay then, let's get going. Ready, begin. All 3 genin in front of him disappeared from sight. The test had begun. The most important thing for a shinobi is to be able to hide yourself, Kakashi said loudly, rubbing the back of his head. After he said start, the 3 young ninjas had disappeared into the woods surrounding the field, instantly going into hiding. Instead of going into a battle stance, Kakashi casually pulled out a copy of Icha Icha Paradise and started reading. After a few minutes of silence, Kakashi nodded. Interesting. I would have thought that Naruto would have came out screaming. I'm quite impressed, seems like he's not totally immature and useless. Kakashi had already pinned the location of the 3 genin, but didn't know that they were all shadow clones of Naruto. The real 3 members of Team 7 were deeper in the woods, with Sakura and Naruto forcefully dragging Sasuke along. Let me go, Dobi, Sasuke yelled as 2 Naruto clones dragged him next to the other 2 members of Team 7. We're supposed to fight Kakashi and take the bells from him, not retreat and waste time. Sakura gave Sasuke the same treatment she usually gave Naruto, a small thump to the head. Although Naruto was used to it, Sasuke didn't expect a punch and wasn't used to being thumped by a fangirl. She gave the Rookie of the Year a glare. Shut up, Sasuke. We need to make a plan if we want to beat Kakashi-sensei. He's a Junin, do you think it'll be that easy to take the bells from him? The Uchiha gave her a dubious look. What are you suggesting? She means that this test isn't a test of individual skill, but teamwork. Naruto explained to Sasuke. Think about it, we're 3 fresh idiots out of the academy. Do you really think that he'll expect us to beat him? Honestly, if he really tried, he could probably kill all 3 of us with ease. Reflecting on those words, Sasuke grimly nodded. Since when did you start making so much sense, Dobi? I'll prove today that I'm not a dead last anymore, Teme. Naruto growled. Now is not exactly the time to fight you two. Sakura rotated her wrist, thrusting out her hand menacingly. Naruto and I have already made a plan to fight Kakashi, but we need to know what your skills are. Sasuke's brows arched in curiosity as he stared at the blonde ninja and the pink-haired ninja. So the dead last and the fangirl made a plan? Normally, I wouldn't exactly trust you two to do anything and go ahead to fight Kakashi by myself. But I caught a glimpse of you two training yesterday and I'm guessing you two are actually taking this seriously. I'm a good taijutsu fighter. I can break basic genjutsu, and I know a variety of kaiden jutsu. My strongest jutsu would be the Gokakyu no Jutsu, the Great Fireball Jutsu. Sasuke listed. Sakura already knew this, but she wanted to make it look like she didn't have any prior knowledge of his skills because she wasn't a stalker. Or at least, she wasn't anymore. I have a plan that should be able to show our teamwork to Kakashi and to grab the bells to impress him further. I have no guarantees it'll work, but it should at least give an impression that we're all working together. Naruto, how long till your shadow clones disperse? Naruto scratched his head. They'll be able to go for a long time and take a hit or two because I put extra chakra in them. But Kakashi will definitely become suspicious in like 10 to 20 minutes if we don't act. The pink-haired ninja nodded. Alright, I'll give you a basic rundown of our abilities so you also have a basic idea of what we can do. If the plan goes wrong or we have to improvise, you can call us out if you see an opening and we'll help you out. The raven-haired boy looked reluctant, but didn't object as Sakura began to call out their abilities. I have really good strength, enough to shatter boulders, trees, and create fissures in the ground. I can also use basic medical ninjutsu to heal cuts and bruises. I'm also decent at genjutsu, though I don't have much practice in that. I'm pretty strong at taijutsu and I have a lot of chakra. I can literally create thousands of solid clones if I want to. I can also use a couple of food and jutsu. Naruto listed after Sakura. Sasuke was slightly impressed at the two. The fangirl could apparently use medical ninjutsu, a very difficult field to master, and the class idiot apparently was a wind user and had a large storage of chakra. Now that we explained everything, here's the brief rundown of the plan. So, you finally decide to show yourself? Kakashi said without looking up from his book. I was impressed that you stayed hidden for so long, but I should have known that you would come out by yourself. Naruto gave his trademark grin to the sensei. I might not be powerful like you, sensei, but I have plenty of tricks up my sleeve. I'll make sure to defeat you and take those bells. The silver-haired ninja shook his head. Go ahead, Naruto, I'll let you attack me first. Will do, sensei? Naruto yelled as he rushed forward with his arms swinging wildly. He brought his right arm forward as he attempted to punch Kakashi in the face. Only for the sensei to duck the punch. Pretending to be frustrated, Naruto gritted his teeth and brought out his left leg to kick the squatting Junin. Despite his rather decent speed, the Junin easily dodged the kick and ended up behind the blonde. A shinobi isn't supposed to get caught from behind. Baka, Kakashi said with a smile under his mask. His eyes twinkled as he shouted loudly. Hidden Leaf Ancient Taijutsu Supreme Technique. 1,000 Years of Pain. The bewildered expression of Naruto as Kakashi rammed his fingers up the boy's butt was priceless and would have made Kakashi chuckle for days, but Naruto popped after being hit by Kakashi's fingers. Crap, a shadow clone, Kakashi said, turning around quickly to see the real Naruto charging forward with Kakashi. Sasuke made the hand seals and sucked in a deep breath. Kaden. Gokakyu no Jutsu. At the same time, Naruto formed his own hand seals and blew. Fuuden. Kei's Gyorai no Jutsu, Wind Style, Wind Torpedo. A massive fireball was launched from Sasuke's mouth while a wind torpedo was launched towards the fireball. After colliding with the fireball, the strength and the speed of the fireball instantly increased, making it move rapidly towards Kakashi. A collaboration jutsu to increase the power of the fireball by adding the wind element to it. I definitely didn't see that coming. Kakashi thought as the fireball streaked towards him. How the heck did they even have time to figure that out? I thought Sasuke and Naruto hated each other. Even Kakashi knew that the fireball was too fast to avoid, so he quickly formed hand seals. Doden. Shinju Zanshu no Jutsu, Earth Style, Inner Decapitation. The fireball smashed into the ground where he was standing right as he ducked into the ground below. The fireball itself created a large crater and he quickly burrowed himself underground and traveled towards the two unsuspecting genin, or so Kakashi thought. Right after using the jutsu, Naruto had closed his eyes and began to use his enhanced senses to detect Kakashi. Sasuke turned to the ninja and looked at him oddly. Are you falling asleep in battle, Dobi? No, Kakashi-sensei is a Junin. He most likely avoided that attack, even though the collaboration jutsu was extremely fast and powerful. I'm sensing him right now and trying to find where he is so we don't get ambushed. Naruto replied. Kurama, I'm gonna need your help on this. You got it, kid. Kurama replied. I'll give you just a hint of my chakra to enhance your senses for the time being. After a few seconds, Naruto opened his eyes and yelled towards the forest. Now Sakura, Shanuru. A pink blur emerged from the forest. Sakura focused her chakra into her right hand and quickly released the chakra that was collected into her fist onto the ground. Despite the fact that her physical body was not as strong as it was before, her chakra control was still decent and her prior knowledge of directing chakra to her fists allowed her to shatter the ground 20 feet radius around the epicenter. Team 7 jumped away from the ground as fissures appeared on the ground. And out from the fissure came out Kakashi, who looked rather battered from the blast. So they used that collaboration jutsu to force me to run away, and they prepared to counter me from every potential angle when I attacked again, forcing me to come out from my hiding. Using Sakura's monstrous strength, they were able to counter my Doden jutsu with ease. Kakashi thought as he dusted himself off. Impressive, my, I'm quite surprised that the three of you are working well together. But you now have 30 minutes until the test is over. If you don't take the bells, you fail. Kakashi told the team without pulling out his book. It seemed like his pupils were putting together a valiant effort, so it was time for him to step it up also. Naruto stepped forward in front of the other two with a mischievous grin. So sensei, I saw that you were reading the Icha Icha Paradise book. While I was passing by a small bookstore in the marketplace, I managed to grab a copy and read the ending of the book since all the male teachers seemed to be engrossed in the book. Wanna hear it? It's pretty juicy actually. Kakashi's single eye widened. No, don't tell me. So basically, in the end, the main character. Naruto began to say. In a flash, Kakashi covered his ears as he shook his head. I must not know. Now, Sasuke and Sakura. Sasuke and Sakura rushed forward, with Sasuke taking the lead. He slammed into Kakashi, only to find himself attacking a log. Kawarimi no Jutsu. Sakura simply said, Naruto, can you sense him? Naruto closed his eyes and focused again. Coming behind you too. In a blink of an eye, Kakashi appeared behind Sakura and Sasuke, blocking their view of Naruto. Guess I'll have to actually try harder then. You guys are getting really creative. As he was preparing his hand to use a jutsu, a pair of hands shot out of the ground and grabbed the Junin's feet. Naruto grinned and yelled, now Sasuke. Sasuke rushed forward and gave a strong punch into the stomach of his sensei. While Kakashi was in the air, Sakura followed almost immediately, using Sasuke as a boost to fly towards her sensei and crash her fist down onto Kakashi's back. She made sure that her punch would cause pain, but not to cause permanent damage. The mighty Konoha ninja crashed into the ground at high speed with the wind completely knocked out of him. As he was struggling to stand up, Naruto pulled out his kunai and performed some hand seals to use a jutsu. Fuuten. Seijutsu Kei's Ken, Wind Style, Faithful Windblade. He slashed his kunai into the air, causing a wind blade to head towards Kakashi. The wind blade, intentionally made small, sliced the strings that was keeping the bells attached to Junin's pants. As the bells fell toward the ground, Sasuke moved rapidly to grab the bells before it touched the ground. The silver bells were in his hand as he let out a triumphant smirk. The alarm clock that Kakashi had set earlier finally rang. In reality, only 2 hours passed. To the 4 ninjas in Training Grounds 3, it seemed like 5 minutes. So, Kakashi said, as calmly as possible, who is going to drop out and go back to the academy? All 3 of you did well and contributed to the end of the test in the end. To everyone's surprise, it was Sasuke that spoke up first. I'll go. I saw these 2 training yesterday and fighting side by side today. I might be stronger than Sakura and maybe even Naruto, but they work better as a team. They were the ones that developed the plan and made sure that all our strengths were played correctly. I will return to the academy myself. Yeah, and let the rookie of the year lose his chance on advancing? Naruto scoffed. I volunteered to head back. Sasuke is skilled and is more tactical. It was mainly Sakura that developed the strategy, not me. Sakura and Sasuke together will make a good team, with Sasuke's expertise in ninjutsu and taijutsu and Sakura's expertise in medical ninjutsu. Sakura rolled her eyes at that comment. You're both better than me at all aspects except strength. The only thing I'm good at is punching things and healing things. If anything, the 2 of you that are skilled in ninjutsu and taijutsu should be promoted to genin. I can just practice harder in the academy and take the test again in the future. Well, I guess I'll have to decide. And I have decided that all of you have passed, Kakashi announced cheerfully. Kakashi was speechless. He honestly had nothing to say. You know, I actually didn't prepare a speech in the case that you somehow managed to show that you were worthy of being genin or actually took the bells from me. Kakashi emphasized the last part, with a hint of bitterness in his voice. I guess all I have to say is, you did absolutely outstanding today. Naruto and Sakura grinned while Sasuke gave out a small smirk. Kakashi continued, your individual skills were quite outstanding, but it was your teamwork that was absolutely flawless. To think that Sasuke would combine his fire jutsu with Naruto's wind jutsu was unimaginable for me. Both of you have rather powerful ninjutsu skills for your age. It also seems like Naruto had enhanced senses and was able to warn you two accordingly to react quickly and to avoid my ambushes. Sakura's strength managed to force me out of the ground and knock the finishing blow in the end, which Sasuke helped in by engaging in taijutsu first to create an opening. To see that all three of you were playing off each other's strengths and covering any potential weaknesses. Your plan was executed flawlessly. I do have to give you credit, Naruto. Your distraction using the Icha Paradise as bait worked quite well and I reacted without even thinking. Perhaps if we take the test next time, I won't hold back as much and will only read books that I've already finished during the test. It's really funny because you three were supposed to be the most dysfunctional group in all of history. The loud dead last, the fangirl that's obsessed with the self-centered emo, and the self-centered emo. Yet you three defied all expectations and became the first group ever to pass my test, and only the second group to ever actually take the bells. This test has actually been passed down from the third Hokage himself. One of his student was my team leader, who did the test on me. Now, I pass this test down to you three. Who were in the first team that passed? Naruto asked, already knowing the answer but wanting to give Sasuke further motivation. Kakashi adjusted his mask a bit. The legendary Sannin, Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Orochimaru. Sasuke's eyes widened at this, but made no comment. Naruto and Sakura merely nodded. So I guess we're that good? Naruto casually said, his hands behind his head. I won't say anything, but I can already see Tsunade and Sakura. I can see why Sakura sees her as a role model. Other than that, I can't say. From now on, what you do will change your destiny as a ninja. But before I let you all go, I want you all to remember one thing. Kakashi said, a ninja must see underneath the underneath. Those who break the rules and codes of the ninja world are called trash. But, you know what? Those who don't care of their comrades, are lower than trash. You three showed excellent teamwork today and showed that each of you cared for your comrade. Keep your bonds strong and never abandon your comrades. All three nodded, as even Sasuke gave a small nod to their sensei. Good, now let's head back. Now I have these boxed lunches for you, but I don't think that's exactly enough to show your excellence in passing. So I'll buy lunch just this one time. Kakashi waved for his team to follow him as they collected their things and headed out. Where do you guys want to eat? Ichiraku's raw. Shanuru. Naruto went flying as Sakura punched him squarely in the chest. Kakashi winced and rubbed the spot where Sakura had punched him during the training. Despite her size, the girl had incredible strength. As Naruto stumbled back to the group, Kakashi made a mental note to not mess with Sakura when she was in a bad mood. Next to the Junin, Sasuke was also making mental notes, as today's training had completely changed his perspective on his teammates. Naruto, for the last time. You're supposed to be ramen-free for the week. Sakura yelled at the blonde boy. What's the point of eating healthy if you just gobble up tons of ramen? Just this once, please Sakura. I didn't have ramen all day yesterday. Naruto groaned. Besides, ramen is cheap and I don't think Kakashi-sensei would want to spend money on an expensive place like barbecue. Right, sensei? Glancing at Sakura, who was definitely giving Kakashi the look, Kakashi shook his head. I think we should go to the barbecue place. I have some money in my wallet from a previous mission. It should be enough for today. Sakura smirked as Naruto fell onto the ground in defeat. I'll treat you to Ichiraku's ramen next week, Naruto, cheer up. If we weren't friends, Sakura, I probably would have beaten you up and forced you to eat ramen every day for every meal for a month. Naruto grumbled. Did you say something? Sakura asked, towering over the boy. Naruto quickly got up. No. I'm fine, Sakura. I'll go to the barbecue shop, don't worry. Sasuke watched this in silence, only give out a small HN, as he found the fact that Sakura was easily putting Naruto in line. Naruto is definitely strong, but he still can't fight back against a girl. If I haven't checked their school records and asked the teachers about the two, I would have assumed that they have been friends for years. Kakashi thought as they headed back towards town. Yet, I know that Sakura hated Naruto and never talked to him before Team 7 together. Could the conversation on the academy roof been real? The third Hokage and Iruka were in the Hokage's office, awaiting the result of Team 7's exam. It was a tradition for the Junin sensei to report if the team had passed or failed to the Hokage after the test, and Iruka had insisted on waiting for the results of the team that Naruto was in. Hiruzen Sarutobi, god of shinobi, smoked his pipe as Kakashi entered his office. So Kakashi, how was the exam for Team 7? Did you fail them like all the other teams you had in the past? The Cyclops rubbed his chin as he answered. Well, how do I put this? Team 7 passed with flying colors. In my opinion, they are literally the best and organized team I've ever seen. So does that mean they passed the teamwork exercise? Sarutobi asked the ninja. More than just pass the teamwork part. The masked Junin answered. They managed to actually take the bells away from me. Sarutobi stared long and hard at the powerful Leaf Junin. You're joking. No, I'm not. Of course, I didn't use my Sharingan because they were only genin, but they managed to work together to defeat me. Kakashi shrugged. They utilized their strengths very well and took me by surprise. That is not something I would have ever expected. Sarutobi replied after a moment of silence. I expected them to work together in the end to pass, but to defeat you and grab the bells? I didn't think that was possible for that team. Kakashi nodded. It seems like they came up with a plan in the forest while I was distracted by reading my book. They supported each other and pushed each other forward using their strengths. For example, Sasuke combined his fireball jutsu with Naruto's wind jutsu to boost the speed and power of the fireball. Later on, Sasuke would attack me to create an opening for Sakura to use her immense strength to knock me to the ground. It's as if they were predicting what I was going to do and parried all my moves. He turned to Iruka, who was looking surprised as the Hokage. I was told that the members of my team were very different from each other and would not be able to work together as a team. I was also told that Naruto was a dead last and that Sakura was only book smart and completely inept in battle. I don't think the academy judged them fairly based on what I saw today. Naruto used 2 Chunin-level Fuuten techniques today and showed leadership by calling out commands during the fight. He also seems to have enhanced sensing abilities and managed to detect me underground. Meanwhile, Sakura displayed the ability to make plans on the spot and showed incredible strength during the fight. One punch from her knocked the wind out of me and she managed to crack the ground and create fissures just by punching it. I would say that the academy underrated the two greatly. Sasuke was good, but even he wouldn't have been able to beat me if he didn't work with his team. The Hokage slowly nodded. So in the end, they managed to defeat you. They're only the second team to actually grab the bells. It was a surprise, but a pleasant one. Kakashi smiled under the mask. I have great expectations for them in the future. Perhaps Team 7 will be the greatest rookie team, even better than the legendary Sennin. Sarutobi dismissed the two and the Chunin and Junin walked out of the office. The third Hokage wanted them to leave because he had 2 very special guests coming over right afterwards. Come in you two, and I believe you should have an explanation on what happened today. Lord Third coughed. Not that I doubted your skills, Naruto. The door opened to reveal 2 grinning genin, Naruto and Sakura. They closed the doors behind them and greeted the Hokage. Naruto messed with his headband as he grinned at the old man. Gigi, I'm really glad to see you. Before I say what I need to say, can you possibly tell your Anbu guards to leave and have a silencing seal placed on the room? The leader of Konoha raised his hand. Immediately, 3 people that were guarding the Hokage disappeared out of the room while the Hokage's secretary placed a silencing seal over the room. This must be quite important, Naruto. What exactly do you have to tell me? Naruto glanced over at Sakura and the pink-haired girl nodded in reply. Sakura and I, well, we're from the future. Oh? Sarutobi looked at the two curiously. From the future? You might not believe it, Gigi, but our minds are from 5 years into the future. I used a forbidden time manipulation jutsu only known to the tailed beasts in order to come back because my friends and I were about to die. My goal was to change the future enough to prevent the 4th Shinobi World War and saved thousands of lives. Naruto explained. You see, in 5 years, Uchiha Madara will use this guy named Tobi, or Obito Uchiha, in order to start a war against the entire Shinobi world. He and the Akatsuki managed to seal 7 of the 9-tailed beasts in order to create the 10 tails and declared war in order to get the last 2 tailed beasts, which happened to be in this ninja named B from the Hidden Cloud and me. We fought Obito's forces, but he managed to revive the 10 tails and destroyed our forces. Right before I was transported back, the 10 Tails was using a tailed beast ball to destroy the remaining members of the allied shinobi forces. Since it was a life and death situation, Kurama agreed to teach me the jutsu and send me back. While I was using the jutsu to come back in time, Sakura jumped in and was transported with me, so now the two of us are here with all our memories from the future. Shocked from the explanation, the Hokage sat down in his chair heavily. That is quite a tale, Naruto. So you're telling me that another worldwide shinobi war will break out, that Uchiha Madara is somehow alive, that Obito, who died on a mission as Kakashi's teammate, is still alive, and that this group called the Akatsuki will go around collecting tailed beasts from Jinchuriki. It's quite hard to swallow, if you can look at it from my point of view. I don't have solid proof with me right now, Gigi. Naruto admitted. When I came back with Sakura, only my mind and my spiritual energy came back. But I can show you this. Naruto closed his eyes and reached out into the back of his mind. Kurama? I can maintain the Kurama 9 Tails chakra mode, right? You can, but only for a couple of minutes, kid. Kurama said. Since it's a demonstration, you should be fine. Good. Then I'll borrow your chakra. Naruto thought. Almost immediately, Naruto's body began to glow. His body was suddenly covered in orange chakra and created a cloak made from pure chakra. His whiskers became black stripes on his cheeks and black lines appeared on his arms and legs. This is my 9 Tails chakra mode. Naruto explained to the Hokage, who was visibly surprised and disturbed. I can completely control the fox and communicate with him. This is one of the cloaks I can use with the 9 Tails chakra. If I wanted to, I can also make a tailed beast ball with my hands right now, but that's probably not a good idea. You can talk to the 9 Tails and control its power? Sarutobi asked, shocked at the revelation. I can control his power. Naruto answered. It's a long story, but Kurama, the 9 Tails, decided to become my comrade and friend after seeing my selfless actions during my entire life. He was the one who allowed me to use the forbidden jutsu to come back. We're equal partners, and I think I can show you one additional thing for you to be convinced. The blonde ninja focused his chakra into his right hand. The air began to swirl as Naruto felt a familiar sensation tickle his hand and fingers. Within moments, the wind began to pick up and a visible ball of wind and chakra was formed in the boy's hand. Rasengan, my dad's, who happened to be the 4th Hokage's very own jutsu. I can only do it in the 9 Tails chakra mode because my body is still trying to relearn everything. I should be able to do it normally after a day or two though. I can also do this. Naruto held up the Rasengan and closed his eyes. The orb in his hand began to glow again and grew out 4 large points around the central orb. Fuuten. Rasen Shuriken. I managed to complete the jutsu that my dad failed to complete. I can do Sage mode too, but I can't do it while having my 9 Tails chakra mode activated. The old man's eyes widened as he stared at the jutsu in the boy's hand. Minato, your son has completed your jutsu at such a young age. Naruto deactivated his cloak and the Rasen Shuriken and settled down to become his normal self. Listen, Gigi. I know this is hard to believe, but you need to believe us. We came back in time to prevent war and disaster. Already, we're attempting to prevent some events from playing out so Konoha as a whole becomes strong enough to defend itself from the threats later on. Such as? Sarutobi asked, now drawn in by the idea of time travel. Sasuke. In our future, Sasuke defects from the Hidden Leaf and joins Orochimaru in order to gain power to kill his brother. He eventually does kill Itachi, but he also learns from Tobi that his brother was forced to assassinate the leaders of the Uchiha clan. This drives him to destroy the Hidden Leaf, and before our final battle, I heard that he was still deciding whether saving the world or destroying the leaf was more important. Naruto said, if we can prevent him from becoming a full Avenger and teaching him to become powerful here, we might be able to prevent him from leaving Konoha and save him from his desire for vengeance. The Hokage nodded. I understand where you're coming from, Naruto. So far, you've made little changes in order to nudge Uchiha Sasuke into the right direction. But I'm assuming you're telling me all this because you need my help? This time, it was Sakura that started to talk. Hokage-sama, we definitely need your help. Some of the things we need to do are no small matters, and you, as the Hokage, may be able to help us. I'd like to hear the things you have in mind, you too. Please, tell me the things you need currently. Sarutobi motioned for them to continue. First off is about Sasuke. Sakura told the leader of the village. I think he should know the truth. And the whole truth. That his brother was ordered by the Leaf Village to assassinate the coup leaders and that Uchiha Madara killed the rest of the village in cold blood. Sarutobi remained calm, but the request was a large one. Isn't it possible that Sasuke will want to avenge his brother and betray Konoha earlier? No, because if we tell him of the truth, he'll want to ask his brother himself about the massacre and the truth behind it. Also, by telling him about Uchiha Madara early on, we'll be able to at least mentally and physically prepare Sasuke for the possible fight ahead. It would be a good idea to have him beside us when we do fight him in the end. Sakura answered, by showing him the official mission and telling Sasuke that Itachi left on his own free will to protect the village. Sasuke won't betray the village to get stronger. Besides, we're also here for him as his teammate and we'll do our best to make sure that he stays with us. I will tell him myself then. Saroboy replied after thinking. Any more requests? We'll need to prepare ourselves for the Chunin exams. Sakura continued on. In the future, it was Orochimaru that attacked the Hidden Leaf during the Chunin exams in order to kill you, Hokage-sama. And also to take Uchiha Sasuke with him. He completed his living corpse reincarnation, which allows him to transfer his soul to another body. He planned to lure Sasuke in by promising him power and then take over his body when he was ready. He never got to do that in our future, but he did manage to take Sasuke with him with his promises. I believe this time around, we'll be able to prevent Sasuke from leaving. But we should definitely end the snake Sanin. Give me further details later and I'll make a plan accordingly. Lord Third promised. Anything else? Naruto edged in. Can you get Sakura a job in the hospital? In the future, she's a really talented medic trained by Tsunade herself and I think with enough practice, Sakura will have her past skills faster. Naruto. This isn't really the time to ask him that. Sakura said, but even she hoped in the back of her mind that the Hokage would approve. Lord Third nodded. That isn't a problem, and Konoha can always use a talented medic. Just one more thing for now, Hokage-sama. Sakura asked. In around 2 weeks, a certain bridge builder named Tazuna will come to Konoha and ask for protection back to his homeland. Please allow us to take that mission, it's an important part of history for Team 7. The Hokage wrote something down on a notebook and placed it on his desk. I've wrote that down to remember it. I will talk to Sasuke before the bridge builder mission. Sakura, I will need to talk to you in the future once again along with Naruto to discuss the plan to counter Orochimaru when he invades Konoha during the Chunin exams. Gigi. Sarutobi looked up at the blonde ninja. Yes, Naruto? I'm just not trying to save Sasuke. I'm also trying to save you. Naruto mentioned quietly. You died during the attack on Konoha. You fought against Orochimaru and the first 2 Hokage, which Orochimaru brought back with his impure world reincarnation jutsu. You sealed the 2 Hokage, but you died after being stabbed by Orochimaru. We have to take this seriously and prepare for everything in order to prevent your death and Sasuke's defection. This was an even bigger surprise from Naruto. Sarutobi had never seen the boy look so sad and mature before. If he hadn't known Naruto, he would have assumed that Naruto was a very young and gifted war-hardened shinobi. His face says it all. He's seen losses in battle already. Sarutobi as he nodded to the boy. Don't worry. With your foreknowledge, Orochimaru won't be able to kill me at all this time. Or kill me easily. Naruto nodded and hugged the old man, who hugged him back. It's good seeing you again after 5 years, Gigi. To you, it's been 5 years. To me, I saw you just the other day taking your graduation picture. The two of them laughed at the thought. Naruto and Sakura waved goodbye as they both left. The third Hokage leaned back on his chair, his mind whirling with all the thoughts going through his head. Looks like I'll be extremely busy for the next few months. You know Sakura, I just realized that I missed Gigi a lot. Naruto said as he finally managed to create a Rasengan without the help of the 9 tails. Being in the past is pretty weird. You see people you know for a fact that died living and walking around like nothing happened. That's because nothing did happen to them, Naruto. Sakura replied. She was doing push-ups and the ground vibrated slightly as she pushed herself down. We're in the past. Anyone that died can still have a chance to live. Think of all the lives that we can save and change. Lord Third, Zabuza, Haku, those annoying soundnens, Asuma-sensei, and many more. Naruto stood up and made dozens of shadow clones to practice the Rasengan and Rasen Shuriken, as he was still rusty in both. Yeah, my brain hurts from everything. Whatever, I guess I'll just figure it out as I go along. Sakura laughed. Naruto, despite his growth for the past 5 years, was still the same Naruto at heart. And yet you used to hate that Naruto just a few years ago. Inner Sakura mentioned, why are you best friends with him now? Because Sakura answered defiantly, I learned to look underneath the underneath. Naruto is a loyal and great friend and he's been with me throughout every important moment of my life, even though he was annoying for the first few years I knew him. He also sticks his neck out for people and is completely selfless. I've also changed over the years too. Yet your love for Sasuke-kun never changed. Inner Sakura mocked. Even after all Naruto did for you. You cried to Naruto to bring him back and forced him to go chase after your lover for years. Even now, he's still working hard to keep Sasuke in the village. Partially because he is Sasuke's best friend and partially because his promise with you. I didn't force him to do anything. Sakura responded. He made that stupid promise because I was crying. He made that promise for you, silly girl. And because he's a stubborn, selfless idiot, he's brought the entire weight of Sasuke's return onto his shoulders. Just for you. Her train of thought was broken as she heard someone clear their throat behind her. Both Naruto and Sakura turned around to see Sasuke standing behind them. I've seen you two train for the past few days now. The last Uchiha approached his teammates. Let me train with you too. Maybe I'll learn something useful here and there. The blonde and pink-haired ninjas smiled to each other. Things were changing already.
That's all for now. If you enjoy this video, then please like, share and do comments.